Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Higgins, along with ORU's head baseball coach, Ryan Folmar. And Ryan, welcome aboard. First of all, how are you doing as you have to basically work from home these days?
Hey, we're good. I think the biggest concern is your health right now, and everybody's healthy. So from that perspective, we're in good shape.
So you have a couple of kids, obviously your wife. What is the family as a unit? What are you guys doing to pass the time at home?
Oh, we're probably doing a lot like most families, a lot of board games, a lot of puzzles, a lot of books. I don't think we're not much into the TV thing. So the TV is off most of the time and most of the day, but just staying busy. It's been nice enough to get outside a little bit, so that's been pretty comforting as well.
What an unusual season. The Golden Eagles were really just getting started when the season was canceled. I mean, for you and the players, how disappointing was that?
It is. You work so hard and so long for this certain goal in this certain time of year in this certain season, and you see that kind of slip away from you. But at the same time, we talk a lot about perspective, and I think when you look at the big picture and what's going on across the world, that
Sure.
sports and baseball take kind of a back seat to what's happening. This pandemic is obviously very unexpected, hopefully once in a lifetime kind of thing. So I think you have to keep things in perspective. Was it disappointing? Sure. But at the same time, we know all those guys have an opportunity to come back and do it again next year.
Well, absolutely. And you've got a larger squad than other sports on the ORU campus. What are you doing to keep in contact with all your players?
It's funny. I think, with technology the way it is, these Zoom meetings the way it is, I think you can stay in constant contact with your guys. So you reach out to them, you text them, you do some FaceTime, you do some Zoom meetings, and, you try to stay as connected as you possibly can. I'm not a social media expert by any stretch, so I know guys are staying connected over some of the social media sites as well. So, it's strange not being around each other, but at the same time, we've stayed pretty connected with all of our guys.
Well, first of all, the guys have to keep in shape still. And secondarily, they've got to maintain their classwork. How are they keeping in shape and handling it academically during this time?
There's a lot of different things. We still have our weekly meetings every Monday, and, the emphasis has been in this is going to end at some point. And we got to make sure when this pandemic does pass through that we're ready to go on the other side of this. And as you said, a lot of it has to do with being in physical shape. A lot of our guys are going to go out and potentially try to play this summer. So it's crucial for those guys to stay in some kind of good physical condition while this is all passing us. So Nathan Garza, our strength and conditioning guy, has done an outstanding job of really keeping our guys hooked up to make sure that physically they stay active and they're doing the things they need to do, that when we do come out of this thing that they're physically ready to go. I think a lot of the other things that we talk about and maybe gets neglected in times like this is the nutritional part.
Yes.
And the sleep part, trying to stay in good patterns and stay physically active, and also be conscious of what you're putting into your body. So it's all crucial at this time that guys stay really hooked up physically to come out of this on the other side.
Well, the NCAA granted seniors the right to come back and do it over again next season.
Right.
ORU's been working with you as well. How interesting will that be to manage? You'll have seniors coming back along with the new freshmen coming in. It's going to be a full house, isn't it?
To say the least, it's going to be a full house. I think it creates a lot of challenges, a lot of issues. I think a lot of those we're not even really going to know until August or September when we do have everybody back on campus. But as you said, we kind of have a little bit of a logjam now. Everybody gets that additional year. So not only do your seniors have another year, but everybody on your roster gets an additional year. So, that just kind of backs everything up a year. I'm very happy that are for our seniors and, knowing that they have a chance to go out the way that they want to go out. But it presents a lot of challenges. It presents challenges financially with scholarships.
Sure.
It presents challenges in terms of your roster size and what you're trying to do with your roster. So those are some of the things that we continue to talk about on a regular basis and try to work through. And, the other part of this whole equation is what the draft does to baseball guys as well.
Sure.
And, the uncertainty of the draft and the shortened draft and the timing of the draft this year adds an additional pressure to what you're trying to do as well.
So how does that change? The draft this year will be in July, only 5 to 10 rounds, and
Yeah.
signing bonuses will be left. How specifically could that affect the Golden Eagles?
Well, we have a couple guys that we feel like might fit in that mix. So you just kind of wait and see what happens, and then when it goes down, you scramble and try to recover and do the best you can to fill roster spots and fill voids from your team. But it's a good problem to have too. It's good to
Sure.
have talented players that are going to have an opportunity to go play professionally. So we're excited for those guys, but at the same time, you kind of hold your breath a little bit, knowing that the draft is going to be really late. So we'll see. It's another one of those things. Nobody's been through this before. We don't know how this is really going to go. So you just kind of play it by ear and be ready to go.
Not only are the college teams not playing, but also the major league season never got off the ground. Does it still feel like baseball season at all to you?
No, it doesn't. I
Doesn't
mean,
to
you're
me
used
either.
you're used to being home. And when I'm home this time of year, baseball is what we have on television. And not to have that, the TV just kind of goes off and goes away. And I'll even add another layer to that too, Scott, is, my son is a senior in high school this year, and they lose their
Yes.
entire senior season. The colleges lose their season. Major League Baseball is obviously in a holding pattern right now. So it doesn't feel like baseball. The weather feels that way, and the smells and all the things that go along with spring sports. But it doesn't feel like baseball for sure.
Well, Coach, is the leader of the team. A lot of kids come to you in tough times. What uplifting Bible verse or maybe other literature do you recommend, not only for your players, but also anybody who's having kind of a tough go at it these days?
There's a couple directions I would turn. We have a lot of people have seen the verse that kind of epitomizes our program. We call it 425.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's a verse that talks about, staying focused and keep your eyes fixed directly in front of you. Don't wander to the left or to the right, and kind of stay the course. So Proverbs 4:25 is kind of where we turn as a team. For me personally, it's Philippians 4:7 that says God's grace surpasses all understanding.
Yes.
And in times like this, we don't really know the meaning of what's going on, but you gotta have faith that God has a plan in what you're doing.
No doubt about it, Coach. We appreciate you taking some time, and let's hope this thing gets over quickly. You guys can get back out on the diamond.
Thank you. Be safe, everybody.
All right.